Okay, it's almost exactly 10 o'clock. I'm going to call to order the 79th meeting of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. I realized as I was coming in today that the first meeting of the Gaming Commission was the first week of April last year. That means exactly 18 months, almost to the day ago, we first got started. So this is an exciting day. 18 months to the day later, we are finally beginning the process of actually seeing the presentations from our bidders. And I hope everybody is looking forward to this as much as we are. The process will be that each of our three bidders, starting with PPE, which is also the Cordish companies, then with that'll be from 10 to 11:30. We'll then have an hour break for lunch. Then from 12:30 to 2, Penn National Gaming will have an opportunity to make its presentation. Then from 2:30, there'll be a half hour for changeover, and from 2:30 to 4, Raynham Park LLC will have its opportunity to make its presentation. For the most part, this will just be the bidders' opportunities to put their best foot forward to show us what they're doing as they see fit. The commissioners will have an opportunity to ask for clarification or ask questions if you want to, but this is really not an iterative process. This is a process of asking the bidders to tell us what they're doing in whatever way they see fit. There will be many opportunities in the future to hear more from the bidders if we do have questions, but also from the public about these presentations. There will be 2 public meetings for each proposal. One will be held in one of the surrounding communities, and that will be an opportunity for the public to speak. This is a step that we've added to the process that was not legislatively mandated. Then there will be the legislatively mandated session in the host community for each proposal as well. And that will be a final opportunity where we will have an opportunity to ask, after we've done all the reviewing of these proposals, we will have had a final opportunity to iterate back and forth with our proposers as to any clarifications and final questions and so forth. We will then set about making the decision, and on or about the end of December, maybe the first week in January, we will hope to make our final decision. We are just about to be joined by Commissioner Stebbins, so I don't have to do a soft shoe anymore.
He stalled beautifully.
He gets cut a little slack because he has to come in every day from Springfield, Massachusetts, so welcome. All right, unless there's anything else from the commissioners, it's my pleasure to introduce and pass the ball to the representatives of PPE Casino Resorts.
Good morning. Is the microphone working?
Yep, can everybody hear?
It is.
My name is David Cordish. I'm the chairman of the Cordish Company and have been for approximately 40 years, maybe a little bit more. You get to 40, I think you stop counting. I have with me today the president of the Cordish Company, Joseph Weinberg, and our gaming division comes under him, and Stephen McCarthy from the University of Massachusetts. I'll introduce Stephen in a little more length later. I haven't figured out yet the best way to introduce him because he sent me a 9-page single-spaced resume, and I'm still cutting it down. We thank you all for having us and appreciate the opportunity to highlight the unique aspects of our application. And there are 3 that we feel set us apart and that are quite unique. The first, and it's the only one that I'm going to really deal with in any length, is the uniqueness of our company and our company culture and how that works. The second unique aspect of our application is the location, and Joe will delve into that in much more detail. But there's an old saying in real estate, which is there are 3 things that matter when you're building a casino or a business or anything else, and it's location, location, location. And the final thing that's unique about our application is our partnership with the University of Massachusetts. And to our knowledge, the way that we are going to combine with UMass has never really been done in the gaming world before. In a short form, it's our money and their brains, and we're going to create industrial jobs and manufacturing jobs in addition to what you get from any casino, which is a lot of jobs related to the casinos and the vendors. It's a very unique thing that we're very excited about. Now, briefly on our company, it's a family business that was started by my grandfather over 100 years ago. My dad was active, and I mean active, till he was 93 years old. And I took over, as I indicated earlier, about 40 years ago. I have 3 sons who are the 4th generation, and each of them had a particular function within the Cordish company. What's unique about our setup is you have a family business where there are a number of principals who are the partners. And these principals react on every project that we do, both in the construction, in the management, in the negotiations with the counties, cities, states, whoever we're negotiating with, the citizens, on a one-on-one basis, so that we think it creates an accountability that is very unusual, and especially unusual for a company as large as ours. A couple of the people here today have said to me, you really go door to door? And you personally knocked on doors as part of the referendum in your host community? And I said yes, and it's not something that was new to me. It's something I've done quite often before, and I'm sure it's something that I'll do again in the future. I cite it to you, not that it's a big deal. I actually found every time I've done it that it's a very enjoyable experience. People are polite. People are nice to you, even when they disagree. And some person's going to say to you, I'm morally or religiously opposed to gambling, and all you can do is say, I respect your view and move on to the next house. They'll still say, how about a cup of coffee? You want to sit down for a minute? So I find it something that I enjoy. I cite it to you, though, merely as an illustration of the way our company works. The principals, from the chairman to the president to my 3 sons to the other major principals, are involved in the nitty-gritty. There is no little matter that we don't know about. And therefore, when you translate that to a community, to a city council, to a mayor, to a state where we interact with many states, to the federal government, our company has done more public-private partnerships, I think, than just about anybody in the United States. And Joe will dwell on that a little bit. They need to know who is accountable, who they can talk to, and this is the ownership. In other words, there is no division between the ownership and the people actually doing the work. No daylight, as we like to say. The other side of that coin, which I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I am sure this commission in some capacity or another will have heard at some point, when you have a small family company where it's David against Goliath, so they play the card of accessibility. And that's a perfectly natural, nothing wrong with doing it. But that isn't the case here. I can't say to you, this is David against Goliath. We are a very, very large company. And in fact, larger if you base it on the tens of millions of square feet that we own, on the number of casinos we constructed in the last 10 years, on our gross revenues, on our number of employees. We are larger than almost all of the Class 1 applicants and the Class 2 applicants. So I think, and my understanding of today's charge to us is to tell you what's unique about our application is that you have a family-owned business that happens to be extremely large, but at the same time has an ethic and a work ethic in which the principals, the people that own the company, are involved on a day-to-day basis with the nitty-gritty. There are 3 divisions of the Cordish company that I want to touch on so that you can fit the gaming division into a framework as you start to deal with us going forward. Over 100 years ago, we started as a pure real estate development company. And this was my grandfather. And during the decades, we have built, as I just indicated, tens of millions of square feet of every type of property that you can think of, just about. We've done hotels, we've done office buildings, we've done shopping centers. And in that division, we are a complete soup to nuts kind of company, so that we have in-house architects, in-house engineers, in-house construction people, in-house leasing people, in-house finance people. It's not to say we don't use outside architects or outside general contractors, but we control the process, and we've been doing this over, as I indicated, 100 years. It has been an enormous benefit to the rest of the company and the other 2 divisions, which I'll mention, as we've expanded over the years, because the talent pool and the experience of the real estate development company is 100% accessible to the other divisions. It's the same people who own the real estate company own the other 2 divisions, the same principles I've been referring to. The next division that I want to touch on is called ECI, or Entertainment Concepts Incorporated. My youngest son is the president of that division. And if it was a separate company and wasn't just a subsidiary of Cordish, it would be one of the larger restaurant, entertainment, hospitality companies in the country with thousands of employees. What does ECI do? It runs restaurants, clubs, comedy, live performance, dueling pianos. If it's in entertainment, ECI does it. And it does it in a unique way in which many of its brands are national brands that any of you would have heard of in a second. These are major, some are international brands that partner with Cordish. They give us the brand to run the venue, but we put up all the money. It's 100% our employees. We run the concept, and we make the profit, or if it was a loss, the loss. But we're partnering with, and we're very proud of the fact that these major recognizable brands would come to us and trust us with their name. That's about half of the venues that we own and run. The other half are simply ones that we make up our own name, and it would be called Dave's Barbecue and so forth and so on, or whatever, and it's just a name that we make up. There are not other major developers in the United States. There just simply aren't anywhere that run their own venues the way we do. There are some fabulous development companies, and we partner with a lot of them. But they lease space to third-party tenants, and so do we. We do a lot of leases with Barnes & Noble or Ruth Chris and whatever, and we simply collect the rent. They run the bookstore. But in ECI, it's entirely different. Every employee there is one of ours. And there's a third wing of ECI that's worth mentioning, and we have copyrighted and patented the word live. And you see up here, it's Massachusetts Live, and if you come to Maryland, you'll see a casino, Maryland Live. And we have the right, and we're the only ones in the country because of our patent, to call our hotels live, our casinos live, and our entertainment districts live. And it's a little hard in a couple minutes to describe our live districts. All of these projects are coast to coast, and I can point them out to you in many, many states. But a live district that is run and owned by Cordish, in essence, it's a casino without gambling. In essence, it's a public plaza. It's open to the public. It's free to the public. We program it. We program it with music, with other performance. And then around that live plaza, we have our venues that we run. And as I say, it can be anything from comedy to jazz to restaurants to live performance, et cetera. So ECI is our second division within the Cordish company, and the third is the gambling division, and that's what Joe will address primarily today. The gambling division is our most recent of the three, and it's a little over 20 years old at this point. But if you look at what we've accomplished in the last 10 years, in particular, that you will see that we have built more ground-up casinos with higher revenues, with higher NOI profits than just about any other casino operator in the United States. I don't want to quibble whether we're one or two or whatever, but when you look at the last 10 years and who's built the most, and Joe will get into that, one of the reasons we were able, I think, to us 20 years is a short period of time, accomplish what we've had, is you had the advantages of the other two divisions. So the real estate development, construction, and expertise is just brought over to apply to the building of the casino. What makes a successful casino is the entertainment. If you look at the machines that are in casinos, or even for that matter, while we don't have in this category dealers, poker is poker, and blackjack is blackjack, and Wheel of Fortune is Wheel of Fortune. Why our casinos have been so spectacularly successful is the combination with the entertainment. It's what else you do that distinguishes you. I said there were three unique things about our application. I've given you a little feeling for the company, which we think is unique. The second thing, which I'll just touch on and let Joe go into in more detail, is the location. And we were not constrained by owning a racetrack. And if you own one, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's what you own, then that's where your casino is going to be. We were able to look at the map of Massachusetts, to use the words of the NFL or the Major League Baseball, we were a free agent, and pick a spot that would not cannibalize the what I'll call the big three. And I'm lecturing here to the choir, but you know what I mean by the big three, and these are billion-dollar-plus casinos, and whether it's in Palmer or Springfield, you're talking a couple hours from where we are. Whether it's one of the three contenders for Boston, you're about an hour and 15 minutes from where we are. And if you go to the south in Taunton, and this map on my left behind me illustrates it, you're well over an hour from where we are. To me, a state goes into the gambling business for a couple of different reasons, but clearly one of the primary reasons is to make money for the state. States are struggling, every one of them in the United States, with balancing their budgets. You all can't print money like you can in Washington, so you got to balance your budget, and gambling is a good way to pick up revenue. Well, if you want to pick up the most revenue for the state of Massachusetts, you'll locate where our application is because of its distance from the three major casinos that are the focal point of the Class 1. The two racetracks are a few miles from Taunton, and there's no way possible that they don't cannibalize or feed upon each other. So we think our location gives us a unique advantage. Our third unique aspect is our partnership with the University of Massachusetts. And after Joe speaks, Dr. McCarthy will detail that. But suffice to say at this point, the University of Massachusetts has, with the help of the state of Massachusetts, formed something years ago called M2D2. And it's an incubator program to help start-up businesses, manufacturing businesses, exclusively manufacturing business. In other words, this has nothing to do with our casino jobs or our spin-off with casinos. What M2D2 does is help a struggling startup go about, and I'm going to oversimplify for the time being, get their patent, have a lab where they can do experiments, have the backup support from the University of Massachusetts, where they can go through the process in Washington and prove out their initial thoughts. What we discovered as we became more and more familiar over these last months with north central Massachusetts is the plastics in particular, in which the region was founded, and is not on good times. It's on very hard times. And you have tremendous undercapacity and underutilization of these plants, and related. And you had an industry decades ago where these companies made low-tech plastics. So it's as simple as a bucket, to illustrate. And unfortunately, that market for low-tech has moved overseas. And the answer for these companies is high-tech and biotech and bioengineering. And nobody does that better than Massachusetts with your engineering companies and your high-tech companies. So somehow the challenge is to get the plastics and other hardcore manufacturers that are struggling to combine with the high-tech, which is there's nobody in the country that can match Massachusetts, to work together. And so we came up, and a tremendous amount of work has gone into this. I really can't tell you how many hours with Massachusetts, University of Massachusetts, and it runs from where Steve is from, which is in Lowell, through the Crescent, through our gateway city, where our host community is, down to Worcester, where you have the University of Massachusetts Medical School. The medical school and the engineering school are already partners in M2D2. So what happens to a graduate of M2D2? What happens to one of these startup guys who gets through the incubator, gets their patent? How do they get into the manufacturing world? They still don't have the money. They don't have the backing. They don't have the clout. And we're going to, by going the next level from M2D2 to M3D3, we're going to provide the money. And this is an absolute binding legal commitment of our company to the University of Massachusetts, with whom we're partnering. And we're going to create thousands, and I mean thousands, of manufacturing jobs in addition to the normal gaming jobs. So let me close and introduce Joe. When you put our unique characteristics together, what you're going to see is we will create a sense of place in a gateway city. The leadership of the state of Massachusetts invented the concept of gateway cities a long time before we knew anything about it. It's a very sound concept. It is where your economic development must go if you're going to bring back the entire state. We're located in a gateway city, and with the 3 divisions that we have, we will create a sense of place there that will radiate out. Joe, you want to take it from there?
Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to be back before you all this morning. I'm going to talk today about more in detail about our track record, our financial strength and financial plan for this project. I'm going to talk a lot about real estate because, as David mentioned, that's a critical part of this project and this decision-making process. And I'm going to talk about the economic benefits of the project as well as the community benefits. I'm going to start by playing a short video to give you a little bit more background on our company, and if I can manage the technology. Here we go.
The Cordish Companies is a group of family-owned businesses with over a century of history and is one of the largest real estate development companies in the U.S. Cordish has won 7 Urban Land Institute Awards of Excellence for its projects, more than any other company in the world. These awards recognize Cordish's unique understanding of building and redeveloping important urban destinations. Projects like Charleston Place in Charleston, South Carolina, with a 500-room Orient Express hotel and 100,000 square feet of upscale street-front retail. Charleston Place was instrumental in creating a renaissance in the historic district of Charleston. Cordish has a long history of working closely with cities and states throughout the country on important development projects.
Obviously, they're a fine organization. They know what they're doing. Their professional credentials are unmatched by any other real estate company in the nation. We always deal with senior management. We never get shunted off to lower level folks. Everybody at the headquarters understands all the details of this project. They're available. They're here. They're committed to whatever they're doing.
They're creative. They're hardworking. They are always thinking outside the box for new possibilities. So I've thoroughly enjoyed our partnership.
In gaming, Cordish has developed among the most profitable gaming businesses in the world. The company's seminal Hard Rock Hotel and Casino developments in Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, and Tampa, Florida are among the most successful casino hotel developments anywhere. The Hard Rock Hollywood offers over 2,500 slots, 150 table games, a 500-room hotel, 4-acre beach club and spa, a 6,000-seat live music venue, 12-acre lake with dancing water fountain attraction, and a unique 400,000 square foot retail and entertainment destination. Cordish's Hard Rock Hotel Casino Tampa, with its Art Deco styling, is an equally dynamic attraction on Florida's West Coast. Maryland Live Casino, the largest commercial casino in the country, is located adjacent to the Arundel Mills Mall in the Baltimore-Washington corridor. Maryland Live Casino is the highest grossing casino in the Mid-Atlantic region and offers more than 4,300 slots, 174 table games, a wide selection of dining and entertainment offerings, and 1.5 million square feet of retail, dining, and entertainment space in the adjoining shopping destination, Arundel Mills.
Joe Weinberg, David Cordish, the Cordish Companies, has really struck my heart and given our company, a minority-led company, the opportunity to be the lead on this facility that had to get open in a matter of 14, 15 months. The Cordish Company deserves just so much credit for taking so much effort to reach out to local businesses, to really do due diligence to find out, who could deliver the goods, and to take a risk that no other developer has taken in the state of Maryland, and probably few developers have taken that type of risk in the country.
Job creation is a big priority today. This project employed 2,500 men and women just to get the project up and running, and then it's going to employ another 1,500 Marylanders every single day, permanent jobs. So we're really excited about that. This is a great project both today and tomorrow. Jobs, economic development, tax revenue. So I'm really pleased that the Cordish Company stepped up with this project.
It's been wonderful working with Maryland Live and the Cordish Company. The leadership from Maryland Live Casino has really reached out to support our students
understands the need for education and understands the strong partnership with Anne Arundel Community College. We have been able to tailor-make the programs for the training that they need for table games, been able to produce over 500 new work opportunities, new job opportunities in the county as a result of this partnership.
The mission of the Community Foundation is to connect people who care to causes that matter in Anne Arundel County. Our vision is to enable everyone to participate in philanthropy, and that's why, together with the Cordish companies and Maryland Live Casino, we launched the Great Give 2013. The Great Give is and will be again a 24-hour online day of giving that supported over 118 local nonprofits. The Great Give 2013 was the first time we had done an online day of giving, a 24-hour online day of giving, and Maryland Live Casino and the Cordish companies were the first ones to sign on and help us kick this thing off. It was an unknown, and they took the risk with us to say this is an important community event, and we're going to be the first ones to sign on. And their support, the support of Maryland Live Casino and the Cordish companies, got others to get involved.
They've done everything from day one what they said they would do. And particularly as a state senator that represents the area, the concern for the communities surrounding the area, they have also been very concerned with how the effects would be and have done everything that they said they would do to help those communities. And also as a state senator on the Budget and Tax Committee for the state, this facility has certainly helped with our budget revenues that have come in to help not only the state, but in the county and the local communities. The money is going to the local development councils.
This is a tremendous opportunity for our community. Not only are we adding to the budget bottom line, but we're creating jobs in the community. Already 1,500 permanent jobs we're looking at. There are a couple thousand construction jobs in addition to that. Let me tell you a little bit about what that money's paid for already. New ambulance in this part of the community and 15 police officers. The money's also gone to the school system budget. That is a huge, huge contribution to our community. The commitment and the partnership with the Cordish company has been extraordinary. We are glad we were able to work with them on this project. I personally toured it. It's absolutely first class, world class project. They've done an incredible job. And I say welcome to Anne Arundel County.
As you can see in the film, a lot of the components that you put out in a very detailed application form are all elements that we have experience in doing and have had commitments long before the application came out from Massachusetts, whether it's working with local community colleges on workforce development. We have programs in place for doing that, and are working with the system here in Massachusetts to help to put together the programs that will be developed here in Massachusetts. To working with communities, being a leader in the philanthropic world, and not to mention building world-class facilities that dominate in the markets in which we build. Again, track record is critical. In real estate, we have been recognized by the Urban Land Institute with more awards of excellence for our project than any company in the world. These awards not only recognize the excellence in design of our projects, but also the tremendous impact that they have on the communities in which we develop. David had mentioned our live brand. Our live brand is located, our live entertainment districts are located from coast to coast, and they are the #1 tourist destinations in each of the markets in which we operate. In Maryland alone, we operate 3 of the top 5 visited attractions in the state, whether it's Louisville or Kansas City or LA or Houston. We know how to draw traffic to our projects, and we know it both from the gaming side as well as from the dining and entertainment side. Just a sense of some of the scope of some of our live branded districts across the country, from Philadelphia, Xfinity Live, where we're considered the 4th stadium in the Philadelphia Stadium complex, to Baltimore, to Florida, through the Midwest to California. In gaming, we have built 2 of the 5 largest casinos in the country. Our Tampa Hard Rock facility and Maryland Live are 2 of the 5 largest. If we added our Hard Rock in Hollywood, we have 3 of the top 15 largest casinos by number of gaming positions that have been built in the country. And our Maryland Live facility is the largest commercial casino by number of gaming positions in the country. Commercial casinos being taking out Native American casinos, which tend to work under very different tax regimes. In the Mid-Atlantic region, our Maryland Live facility is the top grossing facility in the Mid-Atlantic, outgrossing every facility in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, West Virginia, and Maryland, including exceeding Borgata in Atlantic City. And our gaming projects have won numerous awards and have been recognized in each of our markets as the best casino in their markets. Recently, Casino Player magazine recognized Maryland Live as in its own class in the state of Maryland. In Maryland, Maryland Live was recognized as the project of the year in the state by the real estate industry, and we've won numerous other public service and community involvement awards, which I'll talk about later. In Florida, our Hard Rock facilities have been recognized as best in class in every category continuously since their opening, everything from best casino to best rooms, best hotel, best customer service, best rewards card programs, and on and on. And in Indiana, during our stewardship of Indiana Live, our Indiana Live casino was recognized as best overall casino in the state, even though it was a slots-only casino surrounded by full casinos. So it was very instructive in terms of a very similar situation in which we'll be experiencing here in Massachusetts. Tell you a little bit about the project team. We have a very, very experienced development team. Almost all of us have worked together in the past on numerous projects. Obviously, we are the developer, owner, operator. Soch Architects is our lead architect. Clio Design, which is a very fine interior design firm, has designed all of other casino projects. We'll be leading up interiors. We have Stantec and McCarty Companies, both local here to Massachusetts, who'll be handling civil, traffic, and landscape architecture. Tudor Perini is our contractor. We've worked in the past. Perini built our 2 Hard Rock facilities in Florida. And then GSA is our MEP engineer, again, who has worked with us continuously on other projects. So very experienced team that has worked together successfully in the past. And really one of the themes that we operate our business, by on an ongoing basis is, we work with people who have done it successfully time and time again, and that portends to success in the future. The site. This aerial may be a little bit difficult to see. I'll go more into a close-up. So as David had mentioned, when we looked at where do you site the Category 2 facility? Because it was the one case where this facility could go anywhere in the state. So what did we do? You have to look at a number of different metrics. First of all, where's the competition going to be? There are 3 regions that were designated for the Category 1 facilities in the Boston area, west and south. So when we looked at the market, to us it seemed to be a no-brainer that the north central region of the state was the one hole in the market where revenues could be maximized from this facility and cannibalization minimized. So our site is in Leominster. We are right at the intersection of I-190 at 117, as you can see on this aerial. A close-up of the parcels. We have a 26-acre assemblage of land that we have under option. We have a 16-acre parcel, and then just literally in the last couple of weeks, we have secured another 10-acre parcel to the north of the previous 16 acres, which we had. And I'm going to talk a little bit, you're going to see in a little bit, we actually have 2 options on the site plans, because we had one for the original 16 acres, and then we have a second option that we have now put together now that we've been able to acquire this additional 10-acre parcel. Again, talking a little bit about the strategy at looking at the marketplace, and I'm going to get a little bit later in the presentation to some of the demographics and supply and demand characteristics that we saw as we analyzed the market. But just visually, if you look at the map of the different regions in the state, and then you also have to take into impact our surrounding states and existing competition in those states. So when you assume a Category 1 facility in the Boston market, Category 1 facility in the Springfield-Palmer region, one to the south in the Taunton area, and then you take a look at Twin Rivers, which is one of the 5 largest casinos in the country by commercial casinos by gaming positions. And then you look at the other potential Category 2 sites at Plainville and Raynham. You can see that there's a lot of concentration of gaming positions in that southern area. And this is, if the picture speaks 1,000 words, I mean, this is really what we saw when we looked at where to site this facility. And again, as David said before, we were not constrained by having had previous real estate that we were going to apply for. We were able to look at what was the best site in the Commonwealth, given the competitive set. Our site strengths are clearly the fact that this geographic separation from the other Category 1 sites. We have unbelievable highway access off of I-190, which is actually an underutilized highway at this point. All of our road and utility infrastructure is in place. The intersection that we're at today is operating at just under 35% of capacity. So the area right off of 117 and I-190 at Jungle Road was built out originally to handle additional commercial development, much more than what's there today, and even much more than we will put into the area. Even after we've looked at the full build-out of the commercial areas in our Jungle Road 117 area, the road intersection will operate at about 60 to 65% of capacity. So plenty of infrastructure in place, including water, sewer, and other utilities. Our zoning is in place today, and we are in an existing commercial industrial area. One of the things we look at for all of our projects is to go into an existing commercial area where that infrastructure is in place. We have a large parcel, 26 acres, which allows us expansion capabilities in the future, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Our area is designated for growth as part of the regional plan for this North Central area. And as David had mentioned, Leominster is one of the few gateway cities in the Commonwealth. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Gateway City program, this is a designation set up by the Commonwealth, and it targets medium-sized urban areas for economic growth. These cities are given this designation because they have medium household incomes below the state averages. They have rates of educational attainment below state averages, and they have unemployment rates well above the state averages. So if you look at the Leominster area today, unemployment is around 9.2%, well in excess of the state and national averages. So the state has designated Leominster to get just this type of economic development with this concentration on job growth that we're talking about. The project itself will be a world-class development. As David said before, we build best-in-class facilities. Obviously, we're limited to the 1,250 slot machines, gaming positions, but this facility will be of the highest quality, great dining options, great entertainment, great physical design and environmental design characteristics. This is the initial site plan, and I'm going to show you an alternate in a few moments. But the project lays out, very well, surface parking to accommodate the site. An rendering of the Port Cochere entrance on the north side of the facility. Again, as I said before, this will have state-of-the-art environmental features. We're incorporating natural light, green walls, cogeneration plants, wind and solar energy into the facility. The design of the facility will also incorporate explanations throughout about the facility of the environmental design characteristics to educate the public of what's gone into the facility. I go through some of the other elevations you can see of the facility. Here you can see the solar panels on the south side, which obviously the side which will receive the most sun for the facility. Rain cisterns to collect rainwater from the roofs to help with irrigation. So we've built in these environmental characteristics into the design of the facility. The types of materials we're using are glass, steel, stone that comes from the site. Part of our site is actually a quarry. So we're going to actually utilize stone that comes from the site. A lot of natural vegetation, heavy landscaping for the site. Floor plan. So we've cited the dining and entertainment options around the perimeter of the gaming floor. All of the restaurants have outdoor dining seating, and I'll show you some renderings of that in a little bit. But outdoor dining will have fireplaces and covered roofs, and be able to really bring the inside of the outside inside to the facility. We have a 430-seat live music venue, part of the facility, and then a high-energy center bar with skylight feature as well. We have some of our back-of-house functions, more of the office functions on the second level of the facility. Walk you through some of the look and feel of some of the venues within the facility. Our buffet will have a live market type of feel to it. Center bar that integrates with the entertainment within the facility. Our entertainment venue, very similar to our Maryland venue, state-of-the-art sound and light, and a tremendous intimate music venue. Our dining, very upscale dining facilities. State-of-the-art facilities will have a range of dining, from fine dining to quick casual.
Are these examples of ones that you've done, or these are the actual interiors you're proposing?
Both. These are actually facilities we've done and facilities we're looking at bringing into this facility. This is one of the finest steakhouses in the Mid-Atlantic region. Since the outdoor dining here, again, incorporating fireplaces and really bringing the inside and outside in together. Very high quality of finishes. This facility we're looking at right here actually has a retractable roof, so it can open up completely on during the summer or spring for nice days. Some of the sustainability features that we'll be including in this facility. The facility will be Gold LEED or better in terms of goals. We have a central plant as well as cogeneration, which gives us several things. One, very sustainable design. It also gives us full backup from a electricity standpoint. So we'll have full backup for the entire facility built in terms of that redundancy. We're targeting 40% reduction in water runoff, and are using everything from subsurface infiltration, rain gardens, permeable pavements, and so forth. We'll be using all Energy Star rated equipment, and on the renewable energy side, we'll be focused on solar, wind, and geothermal. We've also, as we do with all our projects, we want to look at, think up front about how we would grow the project in the future. So this is a master plan which would allow for hotel and additional parking in the future. Our plan is there's about 1,000 hotel rooms in the area. They're running at about 65% occupancy. So our plan is to help bring the occupancy on those hotel units, up as high as possible, and to have the ability to add a hotel once the market would dictate adding those hotels. We would be running all kinds of cross-marketing programs with hotels in the region, similar to what we do in Maryland. We actually put all the hotels on our website, and anyone who's going to the casino website can book directly into any of the hotels in the region. So one of the ways that we work to help those other businesses in the area. This is a rendering of what that future master plan would look like. We've master planned for about 260 plus hotel rooms, upscale, as well as additional meeting and convention space for the area. The cost of the project is just over $200 million. It's about 155 plus million in terms of the costs that applied towards the $125 million minimum threshold. So the total project cost really provides for about close to $1,000 a foot in costs going into the finishes, which is a very, very high level of finish for the project. I'm going to talk to you about two project schedules. This first project schedule is with the initial layout, and we would project about assuming a 6-month permitting period and a 1-year construction period, a decision from the commission, end of the year, to be able to open the facility sometime mid-part of 2015. When we'll see on our alternate plan, we believe we can save about 6 months time frame in construction and development, and we'd be able to open the facility by the end of 2014.
And what's the essence of the difference?
Walk you through it right now. The essence of the difference is, and you see the site plan here, is that the additional 10 acres that we've acquired has an existing 125,000 square foot building, high ceilings. It's almost the identical footprint of the building that we have designed. And here you see the layout for this building. And this is just shifting the casino to the adjacent property to the north. Here is the floor plan. It's basically the identical floor plan. So this would be the our preferred direction to go in, because literally it's the identical size building, and it would really speed up the permitting and construction time frame. This property, by the way, was included in our, as the definition of the property under our host agreement, as well as our referendum vote. So there's no logistical issues from that standpoint. Again, this is we believe we could expedite the construction and opening of this facility by about 6 months. And this would be with the permanent facility. So this is not doing a temporary facility first. This is going and building the permanent facility. This will give you a sense of the project from a fly-through standpoint. Charlie Daniels, for those who don't recognize him.
Mr. Weinberg, you have about 33 minutes. I just want to make sure you're
Okay, we'll go.
at the time.
To go through some of the economic impacts for the project, let me just go to the taxes. Over the first 10 years, we see a little over $1 billion in taxes to the state and local community. You have in your presentation the breakdown of all those taxes. This does not include all the economic spin-off benefits from the project. Our host community agreement has a annual minimum payment to City of Leominster of $3.8 million per year versus 2% of gross revenues, gaming revenues from the facility, and that 2% increases to 2.5% after 10 years. There's also an initial $250,000 grant to the city for capital improvements in the city, and we are creating an annual philanthropic fund with a minimum of $50,000 that will go to grants in the area. We, of course, will be responsible for any infrastructure costs required as part of the project. In looking at projected gaming revenues for Massachusetts Live versus the two track locations based on the gaming revenues shown on the websites for the city of Raynham and Plainridge, we are looking at, on the average case, Massachusetts Live generating about $218 million of gaming revenue before competition, and approximately $170 million after competition, and that you can see the comparison to the other two facilities.
What do you mean by state competition, Mr. Weinberg?
Once the before competition is before the 3 Category 1 facilities open in the state. After competition, where it says yes, that's after all the 3 Category 1. So, clearly we would expect there to be more revenues before the rest of the facilities open. And this actually gets to that issue, this slide. When we break down the number of adults per gaming position in the market, and we compare Leominster to the 2 track locations, both before and after competition, one of the metrics we look at in terms of the supply and demand, for the facility, you can see in all instances when you look at the adult population within 30 miles and within 60 miles of each of the facilities, the Leominster facility has the highest number of adults per gaming position that will be in the within that market radius. So again, shows that there's a higher demand for the slot facility in this north central region. Very quickly, we've done extensive outreach in the community thus far, and we'll continue to do that. We've had the support of trade unions and public safety unions. We've reached out to all the chambers of commerce in the region, have cooperation agreements with the chambers in our region. We've reached out to cultural and community organizations, including veterans groups and different other organizations, educational institutions. We have cooperation and cross-marketing agreement with Fitchburg State University, as well as with the Massachusetts Community College Casino Careers Training Institute. We have a cooperation agreement with the one community that is closest to our facility and have their full support, as well as some of the entertainment venues within our region, Center Stage at Fitchburg State, and the DCU Center in Worcester. So we've done tremendous outreach, including with the two with Fitchburg State and with the Career Training Institute. We have cooperation agreements for workforce development, internships for students. We've also have agreements with ARC of Opportunity to help train disabled citizens to work within our facility, as well as veterans organizations. So tremendous outreach. And again, this is not something that we've done special for Massachusetts. This is something we have done we've done this in our other projects. We find that it's a win-win, both for us as well as for the community. We want to give broad opportunities, to work and benefit from this facility, and it's something that we take very seriously. Now I'm going to introduce David, who's going to introduce the M3D3 program.
The hardest assignment I had today was to figure out, as I said earlier, how to introduce Dr. McCarty, because the resume is 9 pages, single-spaced, and I was thinking as I started to cut it out, we have a lot of partnerships with Major League sports teams, NFL, Major League Baseball, et cetera, and I get to introduce owners of these teams when their resumes are not as long as his. The 4 points that I have chosen are that he's the distinguished professor at the University of Massachusetts Lowell for the Department of Plastics Engineering. He's a director of the M2D2 program. He's an editor of the Journal of Polymers and the Environment for about 2 decades, and he's chair of the Selections Committee of the Society of Plastics Engineers. And with that, I turn it over, Steve, to you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
So M3D3 is a proposal at this stage. And so I'm going to sort of go through M3D3 and then tell you a little bit about M2D2, which is an actual working center between UMass Lowell and UMass Worcester. And so this is an economic development program. So it's both a gift from the Cordish company that goes through UMass Lowell and Worcester, but we think of it as a stewardship of the taxpayers' money to leverage that to create jobs in the medical device industry. So what we want to do is to accelerate these medical device companies in Massachusetts to get FDA approval faster than they currently do. These are small startup companies. A second thing is, once they get FDA approval, we don't want them to keep them in Massachusetts and manufacture in Massachusetts. So with this program, we will be able to help 10 companies per year. We approximate an average of 25 employees, so over 20 years that'd be 5,000 high-paying jobs, and then 15,000 indirect jobs from that. And the average med device company at 15 years is about 70 people, $75,000 each is the average salary, or $5 million per year. So that's the proposal. But I want to talk a little bit about M2D2 because it currently exists, and so our expertise currently exists in doing this. Like I said, it's a joint center between UMass Lowell and UMass Worcester. And if you look at the corridor between Lowell and Worcester that goes through Leominster, there's about 900 medical device companies in Massachusetts. There's 500 of them in that corridor. Okay, so it's a real cluster of medical device companies and manufacturers in this region that we're going to take advantage of. And what we do is we connect the resources of the University of Massachusetts to these medical device firms. We have three legs to it. One, product realization process, where we help them develop their product, get a working prototype. Then a business realization product where we help them with business plans and raising money. And then the medical realization process at the medical school, we have access to the medical doctors, animal trials, and clinical trials. We also have an incubator, and we train students for the workforce. So how did we come up with M2D2? So we looked at the landscape of the medical device startups, and we saw that there were a lot of NIH funding. Massachusetts is one of the highest per capita NIH funding in the country. And so there's a lot of NIH funding that results in patents, okay? So these are great patents and could become real medical devices. The problem is the investors won't invest in a patent. They need a real device. They need, it to be sort of vetted and de-risked. And so there's sort of this valley of death that the inventors have to, with very small amount of money, they travel through this valley of death. We help them develop their product, develop their business, and develop the medical assessment so that they can raise money, okay? Because they can't with just a patent. And then once they raise money, there's products and jobs. So the partnership, at Lowell, we have engineering expertise where we can help them with the prototyping, developing their product, characterization of materials, et cetera. We have the business expertise, market identification, access to raising money. And at Worcester, we have a world-class medical school, okay, where we have the clinical expertise. We have surgeons that can de-risk these products. Plus, we have the animal trial capability and the clinical trial capability at Worcester. So it started in 2005 with a grant from the President's Office. And then in 2007, we received a grant based on the Mass Economic Development Bill of $650,000. And then in 2007, we also received $4 million in capital funds for renovating an old mill building in Lowell, where we currently have the incubator. So based on that amount of state funding, we were able to work with these companies and raise $4.7 million in small business grants from NIH, and also help them raise $22 million in equity funding from angel and venture firms. And so we have a saying that we help these companies raise money, and then we help them spend the money. And that creates jobs. So M3D3, what is that, okay? So we have a gap in the state funding. So we have a lot of business plan competitions, friends and family, where companies are able to raise around $10,000s, okay? Also, the Mass Life Sciences Center is a great center. They have a large program, an accelerator program, where they can give grants of $1 million, okay? There's nothing in the middle. There's nothing in the range of hundreds of thousands of dollars where the companies could then access and get FDA approval. Okay, once they have FDA approval, they're much easier for them to get funding from investors. So that's where M3D3 would live. With this revenue that we get from the gift and from the taxpayers, we'd be able to grant these companies hundreds of thousands of dollars and hopefully match that so that we could then help them get their product development, business, raising money, and medical development so they get the FDA approval. So this is the way it would work. We'd have this M3D3 fund. We'd also have an advisory board of M3D3. It would go to the executive board of M3D2 where these companies would apply for this funding. We'd then fund them through product development, business development, medical development so that they then could get FDA approval. And then also we'd want them to stay in Massachusetts and get jobs in Massachusetts. We also have job training at local community colleges and at UMass Lowell. And so we're going to work closely with those 500 manufacturers in that crescent. So the pipeline for this, so for the development grants for the FDA approval, we currently have about 40 Massachusetts medical device startups working with us currently in the pipeline. So there'd be 10 of those would be eligible in the first year to receive this money. None of them have received FDA approval yet, and a total of about 165 total employees. Also, the product launch support, so this would be for companies that have FDA approval and that are ready to start manufacturing. So we have one company currently who's eligible for this. They've just gotten their CE mark and they're going to be getting their FDA approval. This is InfoBionic. This is a proprietary wireless remote patient monitoring for heart arrhythmia. It goes through Bluetooth to the cloud, gets processed on the cloud, and then gets sent to the doctor's office. So it's revolutionary, and it's a platform technology. We want them to manufacture and stay in Massachusetts. So just to conclude, this is, again, we want to use M3D3 to really accelerate, the companies that we already have in the pipeline and to help them get jobs in this region. And we hopefully would do this with the gift from the Cordish companies and give benefit to the state. Thank you.
So this would be $1 million to $1.5 million a year from the Cordish companies to
That's right.
the M3D3 project.
Yeah. And I also want to say, there's 3 directors. I'm the engineering one. Steve tells business. Nate Hafer from Worcester. He was supposed to be here, so we'd have this Worcester-Lowell connection. He tore a ligament in his knee and is now recovering from that. But he had it fixed at UMass Worcester.
And we'll have the medical device to...
And we'll have the device, right. Thank you. Thank you.
Steve, can you give me back to the... We're more excited about that than the casino.
As we should be.
Play one final video and then we'll wrap up. Really on this topic of what's the net result of what we've accomplished in the with our facilities and how others have viewed us living up to our commitments. $20 million that we're going to talk about today in a lot more detail that gets spent right here in Anne Arundel County, right here in the local community. To me, an incredibly proud moment.
We often talk about economic development and the importance of that in our community. You should know that we see a lot of projects, not only in Anne Arundel County, all over the state of Maryland. And these folks came in and have done everything that was asked of them, and then some. They asked for no incentive back, and 67 cents on every dollar from the slot machines goes to the state, 5 cents of which comes to the county. That's extraordinary. They have been great corporate citizens, and they have given back. At the end of the day, the most important part of this program is that these monies are reinvested in the community that bears the result of this economic development. It's great to have jobs in your community, but it's also important to give back to the community that is, really handling the day-to-day challenges that come with increased economic development.
This facility here and what the Cordish Company and Maryland Live has done is build one of the most technologically beautiful facilities anywhere in the country, and it's right here in Anne Arundel County and, of course, District 32, which I'm proud to be a representative of. But they've done everything within the confines of this site to make improvements and promise the community, and they've lived up to them. And that's not often said, but they're here to stay, and the success of this facility is also the success of the community.
The community center is going to touch thousands of lives, both from a health aspect and from the community aspect. We have a lot of partners lined up: Anne Arundel County Workforce Development, Parks and Rec, Sojourner Douglas College, as well as a lot of other community that are going to come in and provide services to the individuals in the area. I'm here to accept the check on their behalf, and I'm very honored to do so.
Want to thank Maryland Live and the local Development Council for your generosity. We're only as good as our partnerships and our relationships with people, and your generosity and your partnership with us allows us to enhance public safety thanks to the ongoing generosity to add additional supervisors and many additional patrol officers.
Our facility was in need of capital improvement. Because of this grant, we're going to be able to have some much needed ventilation and air conditioning, or HVAC, work completed at the school.
We received the largest chunk of the allocation, and we're very proud of that. It goes to good use within the fire department, and it's actually used in 2 different ways. It helps sustain the current operations that are out there for the 3 fire stations surrounding the casino, the Severn, Jessup, and Harmons Dorsey stations. There, we have more than 50 people working that staff 2 fire engines, 1 ladder truck, and 3 paramedic units. But this funding also helped increase services in the area, as you heard the county executive say earlier, by us being able to put in service a additional basic life support ambulance with 10 additional personnel around the clock due to the increased development and population in the area with the casino here. So on behalf of the men and women of the Anne Arundel County Fire Department, again, I want to thank Maryland Live, the Local Development Commission, for what they've done for us. Thank you.
I want to say thank you for being here today and joining us and sharing this great news. And I also want to give special recognition to all of the wonderful organizations here who give back to the community, work for this community, and support this community. We appreciate your hard work.
So we wanted to show that because it's really important for the members of the, particularly of the community, to understand that what we're all collectively talking about here is not, philosophy. It's not, oh, it'll never happen. These projects have the ability to have not only generate a lot of jobs and a lot of revenue for state and local coffers, but also has the ability to have a tremendous positive impact on the communities. You can see that vis-a-vis our relationship with the University of Massachusetts with M3D3 program, and you can see it in the video in terms of the the economic positive impact it's had not only on public safety, but what you saw in the video was a health clinic in the poorest neighborhood of Anne Arundel County that for 30 years have been attempting to get funded a health clinic, and we were able to be able to make it happen. So in summary, this is how we feel about our project. We have, we believe, an unparalleled track record of success in the gaming and entertainment world. Leominster is by far the strategic, if you look at the map, the strategic position for this Category 2 facility. It's a gateway city. The Commonwealth has already targeted this city as an area that needs and deserves and should get this type of economic development and job creation. In and of itself, it will maximize revenues to both state and local governments. We talked about the spin-off opportunities with M3D3, which we believe over the next 20 years could generate about 5,000 direct and 15,000 indirect jobs by sponsoring these companies from patent to production and opening high-tech manufacturing facilities in the crescent between Lowell, Leominster, and Worcester. We've had tremendous community support. We had an overwhelming referendum yes vote. In fact, more people voted yes in Leominster than the combined votes in Raynham and Plainridge combined. We have the financial, and I forgot to mention, we're prepared to build this project completely out of equity. So if we're selected, we will get the project done. We will get it done quickly. We may put debt on it, but in fact, we just built our Maryland Live facility out of equity, only put debt on when we were ready to open. It's a much smaller facility, and we're prepared to do that here. And either good or bad, you get us in the process. So with that, thank you for your time, and I think we made it with a few minutes to spare.
Any other quick questions or? Thank you, Mr. Cordish, Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Weinberg. Mr. Weinberg, thank you for your beard in support of the Boston Red Sox.
We have a meeting right now, that's where we're going. I don't know if that counts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to break anyway.